Tattva. Author Yugtulsi Param Pujya Dr. Shri Ramkinkarji Maharaj. Chapter 6, The Revelation of Manas. But from the viewpoint of Manas, that which got revealed from the union of reverence and faith is Manas. Ramcharit Manas is situated in the heart of Lord Shiv. For eternal welfare of the world, its appearance is essential. The credit goes to Goddess Parvati for its revelation. The story of the Lord Bhagavad Katha is considered as the literary idol of the Lord. There are 4 forms of the Lord defined in devotion: name, form, character play, and abode. The remarkability of Katha Vigrah or the narrative form is that in it the importance of every form is narrated. Hence, everyone has to take its shelter to have the right knowledge of God's essence. Not only this, in Manas there comes an amazing fact. There are many characters in Manas who are deluded by Lord's pastimes when they see them directly, and their delusion is eliminated on listening Ram Katha. Parvati ji herself is the live example of this as Sati ji, and it is a logical thing that respect towards anything comes only after knowing or understanding it. If a diamond is not recognized, it can also be rejected, taking it to be glass. In the incarnation period, the Lord also behaves like an ordinary being. Hence, unless there is knowledge of Him being the God, there can be delusion seeing His actions. Hence, knowledge is the first stage as per the sequence. Actually, the logical sequence of devotion is the one which has been supported by Kagbhushundi ji in Uttarkand. जाने बिनु न होई प्रतीति, बिनु प्रतीति होई नहीं प्रीति, प्रीति बिना नहीं भगति दृढ़ाई, जिम खगपति जल कै चिकनाई. Satsang is given such great importance because of this very viewpoint, because it is the medium of knowledge. Parvati ji's own delusion in the form of Sati before seeing Ram crying has its own history, because the seed of the sprouting delusion is sown there only. एक बार त्रेता जुग माही, शंभु गए कुंभज ऋषि पाही, संग सती जग जननी भवानी, पूजे ऋषि अखिलेश्वर जानी. राम कथा मुनि बर्ज बखानी, सुनि महेश परम सुख मानी. ऋषि पूछी हरि भगति सुहाई, कही शंभु अधिकारी पाई. कहत सुनत रघुपति गुण गाथा, कछु दिन तहाँ रहे गिरिनाथा. मुनि सन विदा मांगी त्रिपुरारी, चले भवन संग दक्ष कुमारी. Sati is deluded in this journey only, and its secret is hidden in the above lines itself. Sati did not participate in the divine give and take of Katha and devotion that took place between Agastya and Shiv. That is why Goswami ji used the word Suni Mahesh Param Sukhmani. If she had taken part in listening to character of the Lord, then naturally she could have understood the backdrop of the future events, and even if there was any doubt, the effort to eliminate it could have been done in the discussion there only. Then she would have accepted Ram as a king's son too. Whatever be the reason, she did not participate in this remarkable satsang or sacred gathering. Goswami ji has expressed this by literal disregard through his literature. When she went with Lord Shiv for satsang, then the poet praises her in many words. Sang Sati Jag Janani Bhavani. And the moment Katha is disregarded, all importance of hers ends in the eyes of the devout poet. That is why, at the time of going back, he removes all her names related to Lord Shiv and mentions her as the daughter of the egoistic Daksh. Chale Bhavan Sang Daksh Kumari. And the result of disrespecting this knowledge is in the form of delusion and renunciation by Shiv in the end. Then, taking the form of Parvati, and after attaining Lord Shiv, she tries to reform her previous mistake. The truth is that the stream of Ram Katha flows in the world in a new form through her as the medium. The whole credit of revealing the Manas hidden in the heart of Lord Shiv for the benefit of the world goes to Shalja. Any great person reveals his thoughts before a worthy person only. In a worthy person, there should be a harmony between two mutually opposite things. Whoever has had doubt or delusion only needs to understand. Delusion and doubt occur to many people, but seeing the impurity of their conscience, the great souls do not reveal that essence before them. For that, there is the need of a reverent, pious conscience. Hence, when the reverent heart is doubtful, only then the revelation of the essence is possible. That is why even the doubt in a devout heart in fact becomes the cause of welfare of the world. Take the revelation of Gita itself. So many people keep deviating from their dutiful actions, but when does God worry to direct him to his duty path? And when is Gita's wisdom revealed to them? It could only be revealed for the inseparable friend, devotee, and disciple like Arjun. But why did he even need it? That is why he seems to deviate from the duty path and then making him the medium that great wisdom emerged, which became easily accessible for the masses. Every doubt of the devotee is to reveal a new secret before us. Hence, it is taken to be God inspired. In Manas Uttakand, this same thing has been defined by Kag Bhushundiji. He says while telling Garunji about his experience that I had developed doubt on seeing Lord Ram's childhood play. कवन चरित्र करत प्रभु चिदानंद संदोह. Then my mind got covered by Maya in a moment. There is a natural doubt. Then what is the difference between a devotee and a worldly man? Answering this, he categorized Maya into two parts. That a worldly man is inflicted by avidya Maya, and in a devotee, the same job is done by the Vidya Maya. The result of the first is sorrow and the second is enhancement of devotion. हरि सेवक कहीं न व्याप अविद्या प्रभु प्रेरित व्यापैत ही विद्या ताते नाश न होई देश कर भेद भगति बाढ़ई विहंग वर. The analysis of Vidya and Avidya Maya needs to be vast, but it can be explained through one example. The son of a person dies and he is weeping in his grief. And on the other hand, one actor on the order of the owner of the theatre is seen crying for the son on the stage to educate the world. The action of one is born out of imprudence and is sorrowful in result, and that of the other is inspired from the master of the theatre and is prize giving in the result. Hence, the truth is that the delusion of sati happened for the welfare of the world. One touching indication of this is when, on returning, Satiji lies to Lord Shiv after taking Lord Ram's test. How surprising is this! Just now she is coming after seeing Lord Ram's divine power, and she was fully aware of the omniscience of Shiv. Even then, what meaning does it hold to speak untruth? Lord Shiv is the greatest knower, hence he clearly saw the hand of Lord's Maya in it. बहुरी राम मायहि सिरुनावा प्रेरी सतिहि जेहि झूठ कहावा. Lord Shiv saluted the Lord's Maya, on whose inspiration Sati tells the lie. It only signifies that though the immediate result of this incident appears to be very painful, but in future great work has to be achieved through it. For revelation of Manas, the reverence that was needed could only be created like this. Without reverence, being worthy of Manas is impossible. Ram Katha was already famous in so many forms, but the Manas that Lord Shiv creates is different from many aspects. Rachi Mahesh Nij Manas Rakha. This composition should be thought upon deeply because, as far as incidents are concerned, they have happened in reality. There is no question about any decision about them. Though there is a little bit of variation in incidents here and there, but the perspective of seeing them is altogether different. The incidents that are narrated in a particular form in history and the aspects of the incidents which are emphasized are totally lacking in Manas. For history, the incidents are memories through which we read the descriptions of characters of great men and their great achievements. To present the portrayal of the past is its goal. In Valmiki Ramayana, this very aspect is highlighted, but this Manas of Shiv gives more importance to inner as compared to outer. It is an eternal solution to man's mental problems, and it is something more than just history. To narrate and listen to history is easy, but Manas can only be understood in a specific mental state. Despite literary speciality being there, it is not the primary factor. There it is clearly expressed that literary is just a means to fulfill a specific aim, and wherever the literary pleasure appears to be a hindrance in the aim, he, the poet, doesn't hesitate to abandon it. If Ram is crying in Janki ji's separation restlessly, then its aim is not to make the reader full of compassion and make him cry only. There, even at the peak of crying, it is reminded that it is just human play through which he is giving the message of detachment to the being. एहि विधि खोजत बिलपत स्वामी मनहु महा बिरही अतिकामी पूरन काम राम सुख राशि मनुज चरित कर अज अविनाशी कामिन के दीनता दिखाई धीरन के मन birati dridhai. Not only this, elsewhere too, in such kind of episodes, things are reminded similarly. There cannot be any worse thing in maturity of the emotion, but the aim of the composer is to give a particular message, and for that he accepts maturity of emotion up to that extent where it does not ward off the goal itself. Similarly, in the battle, there is no vast description of weapons and ammunition, neither the mention of years, months, or dates. While crossing the ocean, the amazing description of Hanumanji and the ocean that is present in Valmiki Ramayana too lacks here. But as soon as the emotional aspect comes, which is related to devotion, the description becomes extensive. It is also an important indication that its creation was done in Shiv's heart, and the poet also determines to translate it for his welfare or to enlighten his heart. भाषा बद्ध करबि में सोई, मोरे मन प्रबोध जेहि होई. The translator poet addresses his own mind as the listener in the entire composition. दीप शिखा सम जुबती तन, मन जनि होसि पतंग. तजी सकल आस भरोस, गावहि सुनहि संतत सठ मना. In this manner, the poet tries to absorb the manas of Shiv into his own heart. Unless the readers do not pay heed to this important aspect of manas, until then Goswamiji's perspective cannot be mentally assimilated in the true sense. They will impose their own beliefs on Goswamiji. Thus, the things that the poet gives importance to are not the expertise or learning of the language. In his vision to reach Manas, three qualities are required: reverence, saintly company, and love for God. In the absence of these, he declares Manas as inaccessible. जे श्रद्धा संबल रहित नहीं संतन कर साथ, तिन कहूँ मानस अगम अति जिनहि न प्रिय रघुनाथ. These means clearly indicate that the creation of Manas and its aim is different from history and literature. The poet keeps this very fact in a different form before us. One of the four listeners of Manas is Bharadwaj, who inquired about Ram from Maharshi Yagyavalkya, but the answerer described in detail Shiv's story before this, whose glimpse has been presented earlier. This appears weird, and the speaker himself has the knowledge of this anomaly. Hence, he mentions the reason after the Shiv story which inspired him to narrate Shiv's story in place of Ram's story. He said, I wanted to know whether you are worthy of Ram Katha or not. Hence, I attempted to test you on the criteria of Shiv's character. Those who do not have love for Shiv or Shiv's character, they are not worthy of Ram Katha. From a worldly perspective, it just means that before Ram Katha, the situations in which Manas was initiated, he describes them in detail. But if we see that in the light of his above mentioned statement, then it becomes clear that it has a deeper motive. It can also be said in this way that Shiv himself is the composer of Manas. If affection towards him is not there, how can one love his sayings? But from a spiritual perspective, it means that Parvati and Shiv symbolize reverence and faith. So, if the conscience is devoid of reverence and faith, then how can it be capable of understanding and receiving the divine essence? On pondering over, this fact can be easily understood. In Manas, if Ram is depicted as a great man, then there was no need for such conditions. But as soon as he is depicted as God, intellectual questions arise. The existence of God and then his conversion from Nirgun Nirakar, the one without attributes and forms, to Sagun Sakar with attributes and form. His behavior, like human beings, are not easy things to understand. Is it possible to understand it by mere intellectual perspective? The answer can be given in negative only. If it was possible to understand it through intellectual logics, then in Sati's form, the doubts would have been resolved with Lord Shiv's reasoning. But the non-accomplishment of this suggests that for this certain other things are also needed, which are reverence and faith. Assume that we listen from someone something which appears to be unbelievable, and whatever has been described is not present there. Then what is the right procedure? Sheer debate will not solve anything, because reasoning is not indicative of truth but of the ability of the debater and his reasoning power. Then it is only possible that we try to understand the credibility of the speaker. If it is proven, then at least we can walk on the path directed by him and experience the credibility of that thing too. This was that rational path on which the ancient master disciple tradition is based. The disciple first searches for a person who is physically present and completely reliable instead of God who is non apparent. Then he used to experience the divine essence by walking on the path directed by the Guru. We can know the secret of someone who is less powerful and capable than us through our strength and intelligence. But the one who is more powerful, his secret can be known only when he himself willingly reveals it. The God who is called the Almighty, how can we know him through effort and limited intelligence? When he lets himself be known, only then we can know him. That is why it is said in Manas, जगु पेखन तुम देख निहारे, विधि हरि शंभु नचाव निहारे, तेउ न जान नहीं मरमु तुम्हारा, और तुम्हि कोई जान निहारा, सोई जानई जेहि देहु जनाई, जानत तुम्हि होई जाई. The desire to know is only towards the loved one. That is the reason devotees have given so much importance to divine love. If it is to be said in the devotee's way, then a time comes when the devotee is so immersed in love that he doesn't want to know the secret, but then God himself becomes impatient to reveal himself, tell his secret, grants him salvation forcefully. राम भजत सोई मुकुति गोसाई, अनिच्छित आवई बरियाई. Reverence has been given so much importance because of all these reasons. Ram's character was in Shiv's heart. You can call Manas as heart's talk. Does with whom can we share heart's talk? Does someone start speaking his heart's talk at the crossroads? For that, someone who is not distinct from him, who can understand him, feel the joy of it, is searched. That is the reason the Manas of Shiv stayed hidden in his heart for so many days, because no one could be found worthy of listening to his heart's talk. While narrating the story to Parvati during one episode, Lord Shankar took a sweet pinch. The episode of birth of Lord Ram was in flow. In that, Shankar mentioned a hidden action of his along with praising Parvati. औरो एक कहूँ निज चोरी, सुनु गिरजा अति दृढ़ मति तोरी. The act of concealing can only be told to someone with a stable mind, but here there is a sarcasm. At the time of Ram's birth, Sati ji was with him, but Shiv hid this fact from Sati while going to Ayodhya from Kailash mountain to witness the celebration of Lord Ram's birth. This stable mind also indicates towards the unstable minded Sati in the previous form. Instead of saying your mind was very unstable during that period, the skillful speaker Shiv said, now your mind is stable, that is why I am sharing this secret. Anyways, few days after Tarak was killed, the source of curiosity that was initiated in Sati's form and was broken in this period starts again. Lord Bhut Bhavan Shiv was seated under the banyan tree on the Kailash mountain. Parvati ji saw that it was the right time, so she goes to Lord Shiv and bows in his feet. Goswamiji has depicted a vivid portrayal of that occasion in Manas. परम रम्य गिरि बरु कैलासु, सदा जहाँ शिव उमा निवासु. सिद्ध तपोधन जोगिगण सुर किन्नर मुनि वृंद, बसई तहाँ सुकृति सकल, सेवहि शिव सुख कंद. हरिहर विमुख धर्म रति नाही, ते नर तह सपनेहु नहीं जाही. तेहि गिरि पर बट बिटप विशाला, नित नूतन सुंदर सब काला. त्रिविध समीर सुशीतल छाया, शिव विश्राम बिटप श्रुति गाया. एक बार तेहि तरु प्रभु गयऊ, तरु बिलोकि उर अति सुख भयऊ. निज कर दासी नागरि पुछाला, बैठे सहजहि शंभु कृपाला. कुंद इंदुदर गौर शरीरा, भुज प्रलंब परिधन मुनि चीरा. तरुण अरुण अंबुज समचरना, नख दुति भगत हृदय तमहरना. भुजग भूति भूषण त्रिपुरारी, आननु सरद चंद छविहारी. जटा मुकुट सुर सरित सिर, लोचन नलिन विशाल. नीलकंठ लावण्य निधि, सोह बाल विधु भाल. बैठे सोह काम रिपु कैसे, धरे शरीर शांत रसु जैसे. पार्वती भल अवसर जानी, गई शंभु पहि मातु भवानी. The aim of this detailed description is to denote the place, time, and characters necessary for the revelation of Manas. Even after being in close proximity after marriage, unless there is suitable situation for it, Parvati ji doesn't present her query. The more the place, time and characters are aligned and are in identical situation, the more is the right opportunity available for the creation of an important thing. Hence, there is also an indication that even if one thing is missing, one has to miss out on the lesson. The Garud episode is a beautiful example of this. Garudji is inflicted by delusion on seeing the Lord tied up in battlefield by Meghnad, and then he goes to many people for its solution. First to Devarshi Narad, after that Brahma, and then Shankar. Then finally he gets the solution from Kagbhushundi. The astonishing fact is that one asks to go to the other. It is very much clear that each of one of these could resolve his query. Each one of them did not even have time constraint. Still, why did they avoid answering? The reason is some mistakes of Garud. Unless the listener has respect in his heart for the one who is answering, expected results cannot be achieved out of his saying. Garud has self-importance, so when he goes to Narad or Brahma, then he doesn't show proper respect for them. Even as per the normal conduct of manners, it was his duty that he bowed before them. It was an important dharma or obligation as a listener or seeker, but he did not follow it. He just questions on reaching. Narad or Brahma don't have the desire to make him bow, but they understand from this behavior of his, that it would not be appropriate for us to answer. Naradji instructed to go to Brahma and Brahma instructed to go to Lord Shiv. On reaching Lord Shiv, he rectifies his mistake and bows down in his feet. Lord Shiv himself has narrated in an episode of the story the salutation of Garud. The purpose of the narration was to make Parvati understand which mistake was it because of which she had to wander here and there, and on wandering, right intellect arose in her. The difference between his behavior towards all the three has been explained in these lines. समुझे खग खग ही कर भाषा ताते उमा गुप्त करी राखा व्याकुल गयो देव ऋषि पाही कहेसी जो संशय निज मन माही तब खगपति बिरंचि पही गयऊ निज संदेह सुनावत भयऊ तेहि मम पद सादर सिरुनावा पुनि आपन संदेह सुनावा. Garud does not commit the mistake of not saluting Lord Shiv. Still, one mistake was committed. Lord Shiv that time was walking on the way. Question should not have been asked in this situation, because of which Lord Shiv had to say, मिल्यो गरुण मारग महमोही कवन भाति समुझावो तोहि तभहि होई सब संशय भंगा जब बहु काल करिए सतसंगा. This example signifies that unless suitable environment is not there, even the greatest thing cannot cast its effect fully. That is why Goswamiji describes in beautiful words Kailash and the Vat Vraksh or banyan tree, and then portrays the teacher before describing Parvati ji's question. In fact, that time period is of extraordinary importance, because in that Lord's literary form is incarnated. The importance of which is greater than the Lord's idol with physical form because it gives the grant of eternal peace to eliminate the darkness of lack of knowledge in life. The banyan tree holds a unique place in Hindu Dharma. At the time of even the doomsday, the one thing it believes is not destroyed is the Akshay Goswamiji has considered it as the symbol of faith. Batu Biswas Achal Nij Dharma Tirath Raj Samaj Sukarma. Lord Shiv is also personified faith, hence, what is so dear to him. It is his resting place. The very cooling shade of such a tree and the multi quality breeze which eliminates the three afflictions or sufferings, Tribidutap. In this kind of place, the emergence of Manas indicates its immortality and the destruction of all the disorders of the being. Lord Shiv is also naturally situated in a different kind of mental state today. It seems that tranquility itself has taken physical form and is seated under the banyan tree. Though he is eternally peaceful, but before this, another remarkable Leela of his was going on, which was of love. करही विविध विधि भोग विलासा गणन समेत बसही कैलासा. That state was not suitable for the emergence of Manas. That is the reason even Parvati ji was silent till now. Today he is again residing in his natural state. This natural state is the best state as established by Manas. This natural state is obtained with Lord's darshan too. Mam darshan phal param anupa jeev pav nij sahaj sarupa. Everywhere coolness is prevailing. Kailash mountain is itself cool. The banyan tree is cooling. The moon and the Ganga stream are cool too. In this manner, the divine luminosity which is going to emerge from here will be the destroyer of ignorance as well as immensely cool and bliss causing. The feeling of curiosity in herself along with the intention of service to the world was mainly acting in the conscience of Parvati. कथा जो सकल लोक हितकारी सोई पूछन चह सैल कुमारी. Lord Shiv confirms it himself. तदपि असंका कीनहु सोई कहत सुनत सब कर हित होई. It is clear from this that the Manas which emerged by reverence and faith, its goal is Sarv Jan Hitai, welfare of all. It is not for any particular place, time or person only. Goswamiji's Swanta Sukhai for own satisfaction should also be seen in this light. This sentence is famous for its extensive use, but it is used in a different aspect from Goswamiji's own feeling for the word Swanta Sukhai. Sometimes it is even used to avoid criticism. It is written for self-fulfillment, hence what right do others have to intervene? Such kind of feeling acts in people who say like this. Goswamiji's own swa, self, is totally different. It is also to be remembered that apart from the above mentioned episodes too, Goswamiji has given importance to welfare of all Sarvahit while defining the eminence of poetry. He mentions this sab kar hit hoye only. Kirati bhaniti bhuti bhali soi सुर सरि सम सब कर हित होई. Still, when he mentions the goal of creation of Manas as Swanta Sukhaye, then the gravity of his vision is proved. Firstly, this does not attempt to make the world indebted and feed on its obligation. Instead, it sets the world free of the debt. He knows that through this welfare of everyone will be attained. Still, he makes it clear that I don't own any credit for it because I composed it for Swanta Sukhaya. The other important thing is that where happiness is objective, there the differentiation of swa, self and par, other is inevitable. There one's happiness or pleasure becomes the unhappiness or pain of the other. This is the very reason for societal conflicts. The happiness the poet is talking of is independent of things. It actually brings forth that indestructible happiness which is for everyone, their self and every fulfill each other instead of being opponents. Hence, Manas, Swanta Sukhaye and Sabka Hit, welfare of all, are one and the same. Chapter 6, the revelation of Manas ends.